right, Algebra 2, let's have some fun. Lesson 9-4, Rational Expressions. Notice I put up there key to success. Factor if you can. Okay, so on the first few problems that you'll have to do, they're going to ask you to simplify and then state any restrictions. So let's simplify these. Now, one thing that you guys always want to try to do is you want to try to do that right off the bat. That's a no-no. You cannot just cancel out those x squareds because you're adding an x squared to a 10x, which you're adding to a 25. So you can't just cancel those out. It changes the whole value in the problem, and we don't want to do that. So, key to success, factor. So let's factor this. So I'm looking at that numerator. What factors a 25? Add or subtract to give me 10. 5 and 5. Factors of 20, add or subtract to give me 9. 5 and 4. And we've done so much factoring, I'm not going to go over the factoring in details very much anymore. So now I look at it. Because I'm multiplying two products together, multiplying two products there together, now I can legally cancel something out. So I'm going to cancel out an x plus 5. So what am I left with? I'm left with x plus 5 over x plus 4. Now they wanted me to state any restrictions. Thou shalt not divide by 0. That's always going to be the thing. Always going to be what's going to happen if you have a restriction. So to make this to where x can't be, or where that whole denominator can't equal 0, would mean that my x cannot equal negative 4. X cannot equal negative 4. Why? If I were to plug negative 4 in there, that hits 0. Therefore, it can't be negative 4. So that's what it means by simplify and state the restrictions. I've got several other problems here that we'll do examples of. So this one here. Go back to like the old method where, two bases are the same, subtract your exponents. Or you can just cancel out. I have 2 x's here, 3 x's there. I can take it, and so I have 1 x left over. 2 minus 3, 1. So 2 over x is my simplified form. What can x not equal? Well, we never want that denominator to be 0. X can't equal 0. There's my simplify. There's my restriction. Okay, this one here. I'm going to divide again. 9 goes into 27, negative 3 times. So I'm going to have negative 3. My y's cancel. And again, I have 3 from 4. I have 1 x on the bottom. But what can x not equal? X can't equal 0. Done. Simplified. This one here, again, factor first. Everything is always going to be factoring if you can. So we're going to factor that. Difference of squares. So that means that my top is going to be x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, I'm going to draw a little box here so we separate, so you guys don't get confused there. Okay, down the bottom here, I'm going to have an x plus 3 and an x minus 1 to get my positive 2 there. Well, what cancels? An x plus 3. What am I left with? X minus 3 all over x minus 1. Well, what can x not equal? X better not equal 1 because I don't want that denominator to get 0. So that's just basic simplifying and stating the restrictions. And that's what your first few problems are going to look like on your homework. So the next one. Multiplying and dividing. Same concept. Okay, same exact concept. Again, we're going to factor everything. So, I can factor this, difference of squares. So I'd have a plus 2, a minus 2. Difference of squares, a plus 1, a minus 1. Times, I can't factor that. This one I can factor. What do they both have in common? So think about your greatest common factor. This one has an a in common, so I'm going to take an a out. So then I'm left with a plus 2. Now we're going to cross cancel, not cross multiply, cross cancel. So look at this. Boom, boom. And a plus 2, goodbye. So what am I left with? on my numerator, straight across, I'm left with an a minus 2. All over my denominator, I'm left with an a and an a minus 1. So stating my restrictions. A can't be 0. That can't equal 0, or it makes that whole thing 0. And a cannot equal a positive 1. It's that simple. And like I said, they are kind of fun when you start canceling them out. It's actually kind of fun. The dividing, same thing. Okay, but remember, when you divide fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. And I'm not going to do another step where I flip this. I'm going to flip it as I factor it. Save some time. So my numerator here, my a plus 3, it stays. My denominator, when I factor that out, factors a 12 to give me 1, or 4 and 3. A 4 and a 3. Plus minus means the bigger number's plus, the other one's minus. Times, I'm going to flip this up here, but I'm going to factor it. Factors a 12 to give me 7, 4 and 3. Plus plus, plus plus. This one here, difference of squares. Okay, notice I flipped it as I factored it. It just saves time. Just saves a lot of time. So start cross-canceling. I got an a plus 4. Goodbye. I've got an a plus 3. Could I cancel those two legally? Yeah. Why not? Could I have canceled across? Yeah, but since I already canceled there, I'm not going to cancel across. So what am I left with? An a plus 3 all over a minus 3. And what's my restriction? A cannot equal a positive 3, because that would take that to 0. And that's all that's to the dividing. So let's do one more dividing. And like I said, these are actually kind of fun. Okay, once we factor everything down. So again, we're going to factor. So we're going to have an a, a 2 and a 1 to get 1 in there. Bigger number's minus, other one's plus. Down below here, you're going to have your 2a, a. Factors a 2, 1 and 2. When you cross everything, so it's going to be a 2, that's going to be a 1. Minus plus is minus minus. And if you still need to refoil out and check, refoil and check to make sure that you have those factored correctly. Times, okay, I'm going to flip it. So I'm going to have a 2. I don't know why I'm saying a. It's an x. I'm sure you guys were like, where is that crazy lady getting an a? It's an x. So then we'd have 2x and an x. We're trying to get 5. So I'm going to do a 3 and a 1, because then I get 6 and 1. Plus with the 6, minus there. All over, factors of 12 that give me 1, or 4 and 3. Minus plus. Start cross-canceling. Looks like my x plus 3 cancels. What else cancels? Look at that, the 2x plus 1, or the 2x minus 1. The x minus 2. Look at how fun that is. What are we left with? X plus 1 over x minus 4. X, I don't know why I put equals there, cannot equal 4. That would be your restriction. And that's all you're doing today. You're going to simplify state restrictions and then multiply and divide state restrictions. And like I said, your key to success is to factor. Factor, factor, factor if you can. And show all steps. Okay? And these are actually kind of fun when you get to it. So there it is.